Vowing that the sound of this bell pervades the universal Dharma realm, bringing luminous white light to the black iron perimeter of hell, removing in an instant the suffering caused by the three evil ways. A mountain of swords is destroyed, and all sentient beings enter enlightenment together. Homage to the master teacher, Vairocana Buddha, compassionate Lord of the lotus-born universe, expounding the treasured verses of the sacred golden text contained within precious cases written on jade scrolls. Each dust mote interpenetrates and the universe becomes one. Every realm is united with all other worlds. The truth is contained in the 1,095,048 words of the utmost vehicle's consummate teaching. Homage to the Avatamsaka Sutra expounded by the Buddha. To understand the Buddhas of endless time, just penetrate this phrase. Everything is created by mind alone. The mantra of shattering hell. Namata Shijinam Samyak Samota Juchinam Om Ajana Baba Jiri Jiri Hum. Namata Shijinam Samyak Samotajit Chidinam Om Ajana Baba Jiri Jiri Hum. Namu Ata Shijinam Samyak Samotajit Chinam Om Ajana Baba Jiri Jiri Hum. Vowing now for the rest of my life not to give rise to extraneous thoughts, following only Amitabha Buddha. Thought after thought will constantly merge with the rays of his jade-like brilliance, each instant never leaving the qualities of his golden form. Holding a mala and bearing witness to the universal Dharma realm, empty space is but a thread leaving nothing unconnected. There is nowhere that Vairocana Buddha is not present equally. Through contemplation, seek Amitabha of the Western Shore. Homage to the great teaching master, Lord of the Western Shore, the Buddha, the Tathagata of infinite light. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. The land of ultimate bliss has 10 kinds of adornment. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. It is adorned with the Dharmakara's vow, his cultivation cause. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. Adorned with the power of Amitabha's 48 vows. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. adorned with Amitabha's name and the brilliance of his life force. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. Adorned with the bejeweled images observed by the three Mahasattvas. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. Adorned with the peaceful bliss of Amitabha's Western world. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. Adorned with bejeweled rivers running with pure and meritorious waters. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. Adorned with bejeweled basilicas with halls of wish-fulfilling jewels. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. Adorned with lengthy days and nights. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. Adorned with the Pure Land's 24 kinds of pleasures. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. Adorned with the 30 kinds of beneficial merit. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. Amitabha Buddha, who is unparalleled in heaven or on earth. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. He is also unmatched throughout the worlds of the 10 directions. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. He has seen the annihilation of self in everything in the world. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. There is no one who is like Amitabha Buddha. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. He can keep track of thoughts as numerous as all the dust motes in the universe. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. He can quaff all the waters in the universe. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. He can control the wind that fills space. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. No one can completely describe that Buddha's merits. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. Amitabha Buddha is omnipresent. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. Keep your thoughts on him and never forget, as thoughts probe that place of no thought, the 6 sense gates will constantly emanate light of purple and gold. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. Amitabha's face, like the full moon, is at the front of the hall of ultimate bliss. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. His jade excrescence and his gold form radiate through space. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. If a person call his name for only a moment, they will instantly consummate immeasurable merit. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. along with all sentient beings, I vow together to enter the sea of Amitabha's great vows and to ferry across sentient beings so that I and others may simultaneously complete the path to Buddhahood. The sublime mantra of the original mind of Amitabha Buddha. Tanyata Om Aritara Savaha. Tanyata Om Aritara Svabaha. 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 We will now maintain the silence.
At this time, I would like to invite up our incense lighters. On page 2 of the Rituals and Practices Handbook, you will find the incense lighting gatha that we will chant together. And together we say, in gratitude, we offer this incense throughout space and time to all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. May it be fragrant as earth herself, reflecting careful efforts, wholehearted awareness, and the fruit of understanding slowly ripening. May we and all beings be companions of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. May we awaken from forgetfulness and realize our true home. And we bow. Good morning, everyone. It's great to have you here. At this time, we're going to stand up and silently greet one another with bows. And on page 3 of your chant book, we will be chanting the 3 refuges together. I go for refuge to Buddha, my deeply awakened mind, the living source of understanding and compassion, which must be cultivated to be known fully. I go for refuge to Dharma, the path of mindful living, leading to healing, joy, and enlightenment, the way of peace, which must be cultivated to be known fully. I go for refuge to Sangha, the loving and supportive community of practice, realizing harmony, awareness, and liberation, which must be cultivated to be known fully. I am aware that the 3 jewels are within my heart. I vow to realize them. I vow to practice mindful breathing and smiling, looking deeply into things. I vow to understand living beings and their suffering. I vow to cultivate loving kindness and compassion, and to practice joy and equanimity. I vow to offer joy to one person in the morning, and to help relieve the grief of one person in the afternoon. I vow to live simply and sanely, content with few possessions, and to keep my body healthy. I vow to let go of all worry and anxiety in order to be light and free. I am aware that I owe so much to my parents, teachers, friends, and all beings. I vow to be worthy of their trust, to practice wholeheartedly, so that understanding and compassion will flower, and I can help living beings be free from their suffering. May the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha support my efforts. May the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha support my efforts. May the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha support my efforts. And on the next page, we will be reciting the Heart Sutra together. Dhamma Prajna Paramita Hridaya Sutra. The Bodhisattva of great compassion, from the deep practice of prajna, paramita, perceive the emptiness of all 5 skandhas, and deliver all beings from their suffering. O Shariputra, form is no other than emptiness, emptiness no other than form. Form is emptiness, emptiness form. The same is true of feeling, thought, impulse, and consciousness. O Shariputra, all dharmas are empty. They are not born nor annihilated. They are not defiled nor immaculate. They do not increase nor decrease. So in emptiness, no form, no feeling, no thought, no impulse, no consciousness, no eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, no form, sound, smell, taste, touch, or objects of mind, no realm of sight, no realm of consciousness, no ignorance, nor extinction of ignorance, no old age and death, nor extinction of them, no suffering, no cause of suffering, no cease from suffering, no path to lead out of suffering, no knowledge, no attainment, no realization, for there is nothing to attain. The Bodhisattva holds on to nothing but prajna, paramita. Therefore the mind is clear of any delusive hindrance. Without hindrance there is no fear. Away from all delusive views, one reaches final nirvana. All Buddhas of past, present, and future, through faith in prajna, paramita, attain to the highest perfect enlightenment. Know then the prajna, paramita, is the great Dharani, the radiant, fearless mantra, the utmost supreme mantra, which is capable of allaying all pain. This is true beyond all doubt. Proclaim now the highest wisdom, the prajna, paramita. Gate, gate, para, gate, parasamgate, bodhisvaha. Gate, gate, para, gate, parasamgate, bodhisvaha. Gate, gate, para, gate, parasamgate, bodhisvaha. Prajna, paramita, hridaya, sutra. And you bow. At this time, I'm going to perform 3 prostrations to the teacher. If you have a prostration practice, I will signal to you at a time when I'm done that will invite you to prostrate as well. Otherwise, you can be seated. Good morning, everyone. My name is Igye Sue, but my name is also Z, and I have a Tibetan name. But here at the temple, most people know me as Igye Sue. Today, or throughout the month of September, you'll likely be hearing introductions from all the various teachers that are here, kind of telling you a little bit about us. I've been away. I was on retreat in Portugal with my teacher for a couple weeks. So I haven't been here for what feels like probably about a month. So if you've been coming to the temple more recently, my face might be new to you. I've been teaching at the temple for about 2 years now. And before that, I was a Dharma Council intern, much like some of the folks who are here helping with the preceptors this morning. An introduction. So my full name is Elizabeth Ann Brennan. I was born when I was very young. That's a joke my teacher tells, and usually it lands well, but it's kind of one of those dad jokes, so you always wonder, like, are they going to get it? But we'll see. Thank you for laughing. I think I've always known that I've been on a path, a spiritual one, for a long time. I just didn't know it was the one that the Buddha taught. And there were little glimmers throughout my childhood that I look back on now that I have a better understanding of karma and emptiness, that were like, oh yeah, that makes sense that I did that when I was a kid. You know, you kind of look back and you're like, oh, there was the practice there. I just didn't know it was the practice. So I think the first instance for me that comes to mind is when I was between the ages of 4 and 5. My grandmother had come from Michigan. Oh, and by the way, I'm from California originally. So I've only lived in Michigan for about 10 years now. But before that, my life was entirely in California. I was born in Southern California and raised in Northern California. So my grandmother, who is from Grand Rapids, came out to watch me and my sister and my brother while my mom and my dad went back home to Ireland. My dad's from Dublin, Ireland, for a cousin's wedding. And my grandmother's a Montessori school teacher, and she's actually pretty well known here in Grand Rapids for her contribution to the Montessori school system. And I stood up on the edge of my couch, on the arm of the couch, and I put my arms on my hips, and I said, "Granny, I'm in charge of the universe." I know, you can imagine, it's pretty cute, right? And she looks at me and she goes, "Don't you mean that you're queen of the universe?" And I looked at her and I gave her this stern, like, what? Crazy? What are you talking about? And I said, "No, Granny, I am in charge of the universe." And as you go through this practice, you start to learn that that's very much the case. The question becomes, who is the I? Now, we'll get to that later. So as I got older, now my family, my dad being from Ireland, is Irish Catholic, 9th generation Dubliner, pretty standard, you know. But my mom, on the other hand, was raised Protestant. But by the time I was born, she was actually a Wiccan, a practicing Wiccan. So I had a Catholic dad and a Wiccan mom. My dad took us to church on Sundays sometimes. I mean, he was probably more of what you'd call a creaster than really a full-on Catholic. But I guess if you go to confession, then it's all good. Right? Now, some of you are laughing because you know. But my mom, on the other hand, would get up on the spring equinox and collect dewdrops. And she would cast spells. And she would do all the things that are in that practice. But the thing is, it was okay to be open about being Catholic. My mom always warned us, do not talk about the fact that your mother is a practicing Wiccan. Now, I had a lot of strife in my childhood, and I think many can relate to this. But if we think about the 3 things that the Buddha saw, which was aging, illness, and death, those things for me I experienced at a pretty young age. I had a close family member, somebody who I'd spent lots of years growing up around, well, at least up until that point, who passed away when I was 6. And that was my first introduction to death. A year later, my Nana, the woman who helped raise me, she passed away. And the year after that, my parents got divorced. So it was learning a lot about death and impermanence in those first 3 years, or not first 3, but what felt like the first 3, because those are some of my earliest memories. And after that, when I was about 10 years old, I got really sick and I had to go to the Oakland Children's Hospital for a partially collapsed lung due to pneumonia. And that was about a month-long adventure. So early on, all of those were introduced into my life. It wasn't something that was hidden from me or kept from me. So experiencing life was very visceral at that age. And then also witnessing what felt like the world crumbling around you as your parents constantly fought. Really more, it was on one side. I won't say who, I won't say names. But there was also always a constant reminder to love, which you wouldn't think always happens between divorced parents, but it does. And so when I was about 11 years old, that was my first introduction into practicing Wicca. And my mom bought me my first spell book, and she taught me some of the rituals that were done in our practice. And again, it was very much, you do not talk about this. This practice is for you and nobody else. It's not meant to be something that you use as an identification to get people to think a certain way about you. It's meant for you. And that theme does continue on into this practice, because when we do practice, at first, we have what's called renunciation. Okay. Now, the 3 principal paths as taught in the lineage that I practice in is renunciation, bodhicitta, and correct view. And those are all necessary in order to move towards enlightenment. Because if you're coming into a Buddhist temple, you probably have heard the word enlightenment, and it's usually in big flashing lights, and everyone's like, it's this thing that you want to get to because it's really great. Why? Because you're working on removing suffering from your life. So you can see there were these little glimmers throughout my life that pointed me in the path, towards the path. Now, once I moved to Grand Rapids, I met my now husband, and we've been married since 2018. I don't know how many years is that? 5? No, 6? Yeah, thank you. I'm not good with years and math. I went through the whole process of being confirmed as a Catholic, because he was a confirmed Catholic, and there was a desire to have us be married in the Catholic Church. Now, you know, my mother's not Catholic. My dad is Catholic, but I never got confirmed as a kid. So I had to go through that process. And I actually found that it was a great way to really step into what it meant to have a dedicated practice. But as you might be aware, as somebody who's practiced as a Catholic, sometimes it can feel a little passive. Maybe it's not as deep as you're really looking for, or as personal. Not to say that it can't be, because I know some really deep and profound Catholic practitioners. But for me, it wasn't quite sitting with the whole worshiping thing. And so I did that. I got married. I continued practicing for a little while, and then COVID hit. And at that time, I was pregnant with my first daughter, who's now 4. She's crazy and she's wild. I'll talk a little bit more about her as well. But it was May of 2020. We'd been kind of stuck into the pandemic going, all right, looks like it's going to be another month, guys. And I was really looking for that kind of solace in my practice. And so I had this copy of the Dhammapada sitting on my shelf for years. I had Buddhist texts sitting in my library that I was like, yeah, I'll get to someday. And I finally did. I picked it up and I read through the whole thing. And then I gave birth to my daughter, and I started attending Grand Rapids Buddhist Temple service online. And I was like, this is it. This is the path. This is the path that I need to pursue. And from there, immediately jumped into the precepts class with Yang Su, and I haven't stopped studying since. Now, if you find that that flame gets lit in your heart about these practices, keep fanning it. Fan it till it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, because it's just going to be that fuel that motivates more of the questions of why. The Buddha always asked us to question what we're being taught, what is in front of us. Does it ring true for you? There's the test it like it's gold, rub it, try to break it. I can't remember what they all are, but you have that, bite it, thank you. And I know there's one more, but I can't remember what it is. That's all right. So test what you are learning. Test to make sure that it's really working for you. And that needs to go on constantly with every aspect of the teachings. Now, I'm just keeping an eye on the time because we got that clock does not align with what's on my watch. So I want to make sure I'm getting into the meat of the point of what I'm teaching about today. Now, my current lineage that I study with is of the Gelugpa lineage. It is the lineage of the Dalai Lama. It is a Tibetan lineage. And my teacher is based out of New York. His name is Hector Marcel. And I've been studying with him for about a year. And I had the opportunity to go on retreat with him just a couple of weeks ago in Portugal. And during that time in this tradition, the way that the retreat schedule is set up is you have 4 formal sitting hours of practice, as well as time throughout the day to do your own practices, and 2 hours, well, more like 3 hours, but 2 sessions of yoga. And they incorporate the yogic teachings and a little bit of the Vedic teachings that is popular in Tibetan Buddhism. And the entire time was spent in silence while being in this beautiful retreat center in the foothills of the Algarve in Portugal. And you might think retreat means muted clothing, minimal enjoyment, and you've got to be very, precise. And that's not quite what it is. And everybody has their own experience of retreat. But the idea of these retreats were to set us up so at some point we can go and do our own personal individual retreats. So what we're learning is a schedule. So that way when we go into retreat and we don't have somebody guiding us in meditations or teaching us in yoga, that we have a schedule to rely on. And the point of retreat has a lot of different meanings or insights that can come to you. But the biggest reason that we go on retreat, as in the Mahayana lineage or the Mahayana tradition, is that we are working on developing bodhicitta and becoming bodhisattvas for the sake of all beings. So I'm a mother of 2 small children, and to ask my husband to take a very rowdy 4-year-old and a 2-year-old that's stepping into her toddlerness alone for a week. And now he did have some help, but to do that was a great and beautiful offering to allow me to go and work on training my mind. And if I can do it with 2 small children, anybody can do it. Anybody can do it. And it's really important that you do it, because when you take that time for yourself, you are taking that time for all living beings. You are taking that time to rehabituate a state of mind to enter into the most enlightened version of yourself. How are you going to become the most enlightened version of yourself if you don't even know what that looks like? Now, my teacher talks about changing our path by just 1 degree. If we can, in our practice, just shift it by 1 degree, over time, it gets bigger and bigger. So even if it's just one little insight that came to you during that time in retreat, or that time alone, or that time in a meditation that you only get 15 minutes a day of, use that to fuel your practice. Now, my eldest daughter's name is Roisin, and it's an Irish name. It means little rose. And in my tradition, the rose is a symbol of compassion. And normally when you are demonstrating devotion to your teachers, you are giving them a rose of white and a rose of red for compassion and wisdom, okay? Or method and wisdom, okay? Method being the red and white being wisdom. And as we were on retreat, there was one day where the chef, his name was Igye, really, really lovely guy who had never done a silent retreat, like never cooked for people on silent retreat. So he was like, this is going to be really weird for me because I can't talk to you guys. So we were communicating through this book. And so that evening, the dessert that he had made was a brownie with rose in it. And at that time, I was having some incredible insights about taking time away from my family, my own little rose, and how important it was to go back and walk into that life when I do go home, to take all of these insights and to remember to stay present. So my title of my talk today is to remember to stop and smell the roses. And when I was 15 years old and we used to walk back home from school with my friends, I was that really weird kid that would stop and see the most beautiful flower and just like take the present moment. And my friends were like, dude, you're weird. Stop it. Like, please stop it. Like, cars are going to stop and maybe try and pick us up, but can we like move along? I mean, California isn't always the safest place. So the idea being that we find symbols in our lives to connect our practice to. And for me in my life, it's been roses. I'm reminded in my daughter. I'm reminded in every rose I have the opportunity to meet. And even in meditations, we bring roses into our heart. And so when you are walking throughout your life, it's really important that you find symbols that are going to connect you back to the practice. Some of you might have malas that you wear that might connect you to your practice. Some of you have gathas that you've learned that might connect you to your practice. But it's not about the chanting. It's not about the clothes we wear. It's not about these rules that we think we need to follow. It's, are you stepping into the most enlightened version of yourself with every opportunity that you have? Or are we letting that slip away and continue to be distracted by our aversions and our attachments? The way we want things to be, the way we don't want things to be. And so as you engage in your meditation practice, which I always encourage anybody I teach to have daily if you can, 10 minutes works, 5 minutes works too. Any moment of mindfulness works. Find something to bring yourself back to the present moment as much as you can, and even in the most subtle ways, but keep returning, keep returning, keep returning. The same way we teach in shamatha or single-pointed focus to continuously return to the breath, that is why you have that practice. The breath is there too. It's available to you all the time unless you're dead, right? You've got to connect to it. But you have to test it. Is that really what you're here for? What is this practice to you? Is it about identifying with something that might be trendy at the time? Is it wearing the beads or getting the tattoo? Is it being able to say to your friends, oh yeah, I'm a Buddhist? My teacher doesn't call himself a Buddhist. He calls himself a wake-upist. Because often we get caught in the dogma of religion. And that's why I'm not wearing my normal temple stuff today. Because I think it's really easy for us to get attached to our practice as well. And even that can cause us to lose sight of what we're really doing this practice for. There's a quote from the Dhammapada that stuck with me throughout retreat. And it's number 46. Remembering that this body is like froth, of the nature of a mirage. Break the flower-tipped arrows of Mara. Never again will death touch you. As you go down this path, you'll hopefully learn more about karma and emptiness. And you'll come to an understanding that this body is the one we get to live in right now. We get it. We got a body. We were given one by our parents, right? Even if you don't have a good relationship with your parents, the very least, they've given you the opportunity to have a human birth and to practice this. Now, you're all sitting in this Dharma hall for a reason. That means that you had the karma to hear the Buddha's teachings, to connect with it, and to come to find a community to practice with. That is incredible. How many other people in the world don't have that? That one little glimpse of an entry into a life that is possible without suffering. And to think, is it possible? If there's anything you can get from retreat, it's hope. Hope that it is. It is possible to live a life without suffering and to teach others how to do it too. But I think my last reminder is that it's okay to be human. We forget that as we get older. We forget that, when we were a kid, it was really easy to stop and smell the roses. But as we grow into adults, our society has expectations of us that we want to honor. And we have these identities that we think we need to cling to. And it is our karma to experience that, to experience the identities, to experience those expectations. But we are the ones that have the ability to change that. Either we let that karma multiply and continue to plant the garden with that karma, or we choose to change it and plant something new. When you are feeling your attachments and aversions, those are your opportunities to transform your karma. When you are feeling the road rage in the car, or in my case, the irritation of a toddler asking the same question over and over and over again, those are the opportunities when the Buddha is speaking to you. That is the opportunity to step into the version of you that you want to become. The only way to get to enlightenment, the only way, is to first understand that it's possible. So at this time, we're going to prepare for meditation. I'll give a short reminder of the 7-point posture of Vairocana. So please prepare yourself. If you see that there's extra cushions around and you need something to put underneath your knees, please take the empty cushion, okay? The point is to get comfortable here. If you need to clear your sinuses, do it now. Make all the noise now, okay? You can turn the lights down. Thank you. Make all the noise now. Get your snorts out. Get the sniffles out. If you need to crack your knuckles or do any of that, get that out now, okay? When we sit in meditation, the idea is to become very still, so still that you are not creating the opportunity to distract somebody else, the person next to you, hopefully, from their meditation. Because when you plant the karmas to be less disruptive to others, you will see more of that in your experience. Starting at the bottom of your feet, making sure that those feet are folded in the most comfortable position for you. Spine is pulled up tall. Shoulders are level with the ground. Chin should be slightly tucked. Lips are relaxed. Tongue should be touching the back of the teeth. Eyebrows relaxed. And when you're ready, close down those eyes. Beginning with a body scan, starting from the feet and working your way up towards the head. Work on finding any moments or areas of tension and allowing that tension to fade away with each breath. Once your body is at a comfortable place, or if you need to readjust, take a moment right now to readjust your setting for a successful meditation. And this practice is joyful, so if you can, bring a slight smile to your face. Drawing your attention to the tip of the nose, counting 10 rounds of breath. At this time, either continue the counting and try to remain as still and quiet as possible, or allow the counting to fade away and see if you can remain in that stillness and silence. The last thing I want to leave you with is you never know when you're going to meet a Buddha. One of our vows that we take in the tradition that I'm in is that you never want to be angry with a Buddha. How do you know you're not going to be angry with the Buddha if you don't know that the person that you're interacting with is already a Buddha? Wearing robes doesn't necessarily mean that somebody is a Buddha. Being a Buddhist doesn't mean that somebody is a Buddha. You might meet a Buddha who's Catholic. You might meet a Buddha who's Hindu. You might meet a Buddha that doesn't practice any kind of religion. So when you think about the clothes that you're wearing, remember that those are the clothes that a Buddha could be wearing. Because at some point, if you strive towards the goal, you have the ability to become a Buddha too. So I'd like to move into joys and concerns. This is an opportunity for practitioners to share what are some of the things we can celebrate with you in your life, or what are some of the things we can hold space for you if you are experiencing difficulties. You don't have to talk if you don't want to. You can silently think those things to yourself, and we will also hold space for that as well.
Hello, Sangha. Excuse me, I have two joys today. The first one is that my friend Gail here has retired from the board after 3 years of service to the Sangha, and we have a cake downstairs to celebrate that. So after service, please join us for cake.
Thank you.
Early July, I was a homeless vet, and I called the Veterans Administration, and they said I qualified for help. So I went through a few agencies, ended up with community rebuilders, and I had to, in order to get permanent housing, I had, excuse me, I had to live at a 4-bedroom, 1-bath home with 3 other vets. It was a struggle for a minute, but you know, this practice and my AA practice is like, I cried a little bit and then, all right, get off your pity pot. What are you going to do? Right. So be of service wherever you are. Well, the reward is amazing. It's just, it's beyond my wildest dreams. I'm living in a place called Samaritas, which is on Burton Avenue. It's an old Catholic diocese. It's a historic building, 53 apartments. I was supposed to get a 1-bedroom apartment and was all set for it a month ago. Had everything going. Well, the guy decided at the last minute, nah, I'm not going to leave. So he is in the process of getting evicted. And so I'm at a Friday meeting and I'm once again frustrated. And I get a call from the lady and she, that runs the place. And she says, how would you feel about a 2-bedroom? Only just a little bit more money. I think it's costing me another $20, $25. I walk into this place, folks, and it's got 4 huge windows, almost, to the ceiling, 20-foot high ceilings, and 2 in each bedroom. And I'm just so blessed. So thank you, universe.
Thank you, karma. You planted the karma to experience that.
Good morning, Sangha. I just wanted to share today's my 11-year anniversary with my wife, Amber. And she's just been such a wonderful support system over the years. Just love her so much. And she's not listening, but just want to share that. We have 2 wonderful children together, Parker, who's 7, and Miles, who is 3. And so we're going to go rock climbing. We're going to go out to dinner. We have a lovely day planned. So just wanted to share that. Thank you.
Yes, I wanted to welcome my neighbor, Justin. This is his first time here, so I'm really glad you came.
Good morning, Sangha. Yeah, I'm really grateful to be here. I have a concern. As I've shared before, I went to Guiding Light, and there was a brother of mine that went through the program with me. So we were roommates. So we spent 4 months together, and then he struggled with addiction continuously after that, and he left. And so I just got news that he's entered another detox program, which I'm really grateful to hear that, but it's still concerning. Like, I really want what's best for him. So I thought I'd share that. Yeah, joy, because I have to share joy. Yeah, I was mentoring at work, and one of the mentees got certified, so he's on his own. He's doing really successful, and that's super awesome. And then I got asked to mentee again, somebody else, and I'm just like helping this person. And I go out on my break, and I'm just thinking about how blessed I am, just like so blessed to be where I'm at in my life. And now for like 30 seconds, I was at work. I had to go back to work. Like, I could feel heart-brain cohesion. Like, I could feel this like extended heart place like go out, and I'm like, well, I gotta go back to work. But anyway, it was pretty exciting, and that was a real joy, because like it works. Like, I was just thinking how blessed I am. I could feel my heart expand out, and it was very powerful. So anyway, I'm really grateful to be here. That's all I have.
This is my first time, so I'm just learning through copying other people. So good morning, Sangha. This is actually my first time ever entering any type of like actual place of practice either. So thank you all for making me feel so welcome. Even just the energy here is amazing. My joy is that Thursday night marked being back in Michigan for a whole solid month after living in Orlando, Florida for 6.5 years and leaving an abusive relationship I was in for about 3.5 years. So I'm really grateful to be here and to feel safe. Thank you all.
I'll share a concern and a joy. A good friend of mine that I was on retreat with is still struggling with her experience, and just hold space for those who are struggling and may not quite know exactly what to do, even as a practitioner. So if you can hold space for her in your heart, I know she'd really appreciate that. And a joy is being back after having the opportunity to like spend a week with my mind, which it's crazy and can get really dark in there sometimes. But it also has a lot of joy and a lot of love. And I'm really grateful I'm able to have that time, and I'm able to bring it back and share with the Sangha. I've missed seeing you guys.
Good morning, Sangha. Name's Vanessa. I'll share a struggle with you. My car, somebody hit my car outside the DHS building and totaled it on the 13th. So I'm still waiting for the insurance people to cut me a check or whatever so I can get a new car. It was really painful, but hopefully I can recover. So I'm off work as well due to that. So just keep me in your thoughts.
Good morning. My brother got into a car accident and he's completely okay. So the car did its job, and I'm thankful about that. Something I'm thankful for in my personal life is that I bus to the Grand Valley campus earlier this week. And there's a little chapel building there right across from the clock tower. And there's always a sign on it that says, "Please keep this door locked at all times," in the back of the chapel. And nobody ever locks it. and in there is a full organ, a full church organ with 2.5 octaves on the baseboard, and I have a ton of fun whenever I go there. And every time I get to that chapel building and I press the prong and it comes out and I can actually pull it open, I kind of feel like a bank robber, and I think I'm in. So that was a good way to spend an afternoon.
Do we have any online? All right. This is our opportunity to take a moment, hold space for all of those joys and concerns. And if you can, a little later today, see if you can think about one of the concerns or joys that was shared today. And just find a moment this afternoon to hold space for it. We bow. All right, temple-related announcements. On Wednesdays, we have an online meditation group that meets from 6 to 6:45. That's on Zoom. Contact Venerable Kunga Nima for more information or sign up for the newsletter. The link is usually in there. On Thursday mornings from 9:30 to 11 a.m., we have a Dharma discussion group here at the temple, and that is led by Reverend Jing Su, Ryan Duffield. You can also check out the newsletter for more information. There is a bi-weekly Avatamsaka Sutra study group. The next meeting is September 19th from 7 to 9 p.m. here at the temple. You don't need any previous experience. Just come study. Come and get to know what some of these sutras say. They are, it's a little bit more of an advanced discussion, but sometimes the best way to jump in is to just go in with practitioners who already have some kind of a grasp on these things. If you are interested, contact Will Allington or Reverend Juation Su Shane Weimer, or see the newsletter for more information. All right, we're getting close. On Sunday, September 15th, we have a Grand Rapids Buddhist Temple board meeting, and Sangha members are invited to observe. So if you're interested in seeing what our board does, how they operate, highly encourage you to stick around for one of those meetings and see if maybe you can come and participate and help with what they do, because we need more people that would like to be involved and be of service to this temple. And that's from 11:30 to 1 downstairs, or you can join via Google Meets as well, Sunday, September 15th. So that's next Sunday. We got 2 more things. Fall Silent Retreat, Saturday, October 26th from 9 to 4 p.m. It's a day of practice. We do lots of meditation, work practice, different variations of meditation. There's usually a Soto Zen portion of the retreat. It's a lot of fun, great way to just get some good practice in and good insights. It meets here at the temple, and registration ends on Friday, October 25th. And that was Saturday, October 26th. That's when the retreat is. We have Buddhist-based recovery meetings, Mondays at 6:30 p.m. That's the meditation. 7 p.m. is the meeting, and it's here at the temple. Wednesdays, 7:30 p.m. at the Alano Club. Fridays at 10:05 a.m. meditation, 10:30 a.m. meeting at Garfield Park at the entrance off Madison Avenue Southeast near the playground area. You can also join via Zoom. As always, all of these, I believe, are offered on our website, or you can check out the weekly newsletter. Okay, almost there. So last thing we get to do together is chant our gathas. So that is on page 6. If you'll all please stand up. And together we say, for all unskillful action ever committed by me since of old, on account of my beginning was greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and thoughts, now I atone for them all. Vast was the robe of compassion, a formless field of benefaction. I wear the Buddhist teachings to the benefit of all sentient beings. All beings, one body, I vow to liberate. Endless blind passion, I vow to uproot. Dharma gates without number, I vow to enter. The great way of Buddha, I vow to attain. And if this half of the room will face this way and that half this way. One final bow. Thank you all for being here. Following service, we do have some tea and conversation for preceptors. We will be having our meeting. Our meeting starts at 11:15, but we will do that in the sunroom, so that way Sangha members can enjoy the cake celebrating Gale downstairs. The only other thing that we ask that you do is please fluff up your cushions and make sure it's in the center of your mat. The tab should face the back of the room, and please arrange it neatly so at least maybe there's still kind of a grit pattern on the floor. So that way the next group using this room will see that we are a very mindful group. Thank you all.